Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Dharyll from But Stay Tuned, and for today's video, I'm going to share to you the summary or the overview of the chapter 6 in the NetAcad. So previously, I already made a video about the full summary of the chapter 6 in the NetAcad. So today I'm going to share to you the brief summary and some important key terms or terms that to be remembered in the overview of the chapter 6 in the NetAcad. So first things first is the network layer in communications. So in the network layer, we have the end-to-end transport process and addressing end devices and encapsulation and the routing. And we have also here the decapsulating and the network layer protocols and the IPv4 and the IPv6. That is all about the network layers and the network layers protocols and the overview of the network layer in communications. So next is the characteristics of the IP protocol. So in the encapsulation IP, segments are encapsulated into IP packets for transmission. So the network layer adds a header so that packets can be routed to the destination, and the IP connectionless and the sender. So if the sender doesn't know if the receiver is listening or the message arrive on the time, the receiver doesn't know the data is coming. So in the IP, best effort delivery, uh, no guarantee of delivery are made. So IP media independent. So the IP can travel over different types of media. So that is all about the characteristic of the IP of the protocol. So next that we're going to tackle is the IPv4 packet. So in the IPv4 packet header, which is here is listed is in the version. You can see here, for example, is 0100, and in the DS, it is listed here the packet priority, and in the TTL section, we have here the limits life of the packet. And in the protocol, in the upper layer protocol such as TCP, so in the source IP address, we have here the source packet and the destination IP address. Of course, we have here the destination packet. So those are the some things or items that are listed in the IPv4 packet. So next is the IPv6 packet. So inside the IPv6 packet, we have also here the limitation of the IPv4. So in the limitation of the IPv4, the IP address depletion. It's also here the internet routing table expansion. It's also here the lacks of end-to-end connectivity and introducing the IPv6. In the IPv6, uh, it is different from the IPv4. It is increased address space. It also improves the packet handling and eliminates the need of the NAT. And in encapsulating the IPv6, simplified as the header format, and no checksum process requirement. Also here the more efficient option header mechanism, flow label field make it more efficient, and the IPv6 packet header. So next thing that we're going to discuss is the on how a host routes. So a host forwarding decision, there are three types of decisions: itself, local host, and remote host. So in default gateway, routes traffic to another network. So it has a local IP address. In the same time, addresses range as other hosts on the network. So it can take data in and forward data out. And using the default gateway, the host will be used the default gateway when sending packets to remote networks. So in host routing tables, it uses the netstat or the /r command to display the host or routing table on the command Windows machine. So next thing is the how a host routes router in tables. So the router packets forwarding decision, which the router and the host forwards packet in a similar fashion. And the difference is that the router have more interfaces, while hosts often have only one, and the devices on directly connected network can be easily reached directly. So device on networks are reached through gateway, and the IPv4 routing table. So in the routing table, the routing table stores the network or the routes uh, the router knows about. So use the IP route command, so that it will display the routing tables on a Cisco's router, and the routing table also has some information on how a route was learned and its trustworthiness and rating. So it also contains the which interface is to use to reach that specific destination. So it directly connected to the routing table entries. So in the remote networking routing table entries, so the remote can be reached directly, and remote uh, routes can contain only the address of the intermediate network device to be used to reach the destination. So next hop address. The next hop address is the intermediate device used to reach a specific remote destination. Example on the anatomy of a router. So a router is a computer. Router have a CPU also, memory, and the IO/flash device. So the Cisco routers, it uses the iOS as their operating system, and the router memory. And just as a computer, router also have memory. Router contains the ROM, the RAM, and the NVRAM, and the flash memory. So inside the router have some general structure. So connect to a router. So the routers have LAN and WAN ports, different model chip and with different ports. And Ethernet is very common on different router models, which is boot set files and the iOS image file storage in the flash contains the iOS, and the flash also stores other system files. So the NVRAM stores configuration parameters, which the routing boot up process perform the post and load the bootstrap program. So it is locate and load the Cisco IO software, and to locate the file to enter the setup mode. So in the show version output, the show version command is very useful. Why? Because it provides the information on the amounts of the memory installed. So what iOS image was loaded during the boot and more. And in configure interfaces, configure router interfaces, enter the interface sub configuration mode. And also it can add description to the interface, so it is optional. So in configure an IPv4 or an IPv6 address, activate the interface with a no shutdown command and verify interface configuration. So we here the sample command is the show IP route. So it display the contents of the IPv4 routing table stored in the RAM. In the show interface display statistics for all the interface on the device. And the show IP interface is to display the IPv4 statistics for all interfaces on the router. So lastly, in configuring the default gateway, so the default gateway for a switch, default gateway is required for remote network communication. So for example, if a switch is to be managed via its VTY lines, it needs to be the default gateway, and which used the IP default gateway commands to configure the default gateway for a switch. So basically, that is all about the overview or the brief summary of the chapter 6. And if you learn something, and if you like this video, and if you learn something, and uh, you like to support my channel, please leave a like and share. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.